I started flying back in 1986, and I'm here with Today FM, and you can ask me anything.
First question, Gaz, from Chris. Did you always want to be a stunt pilot, or were you flying a Ryanair to Salou flight one day and started doing barrel rolls for the crack and thought, Jesus, this is for me?
I know I'm in Ireland from this question. I mean, this is a great question. I definitely knew I wanted to be a pilot from the moment I saw Peter Pan at the age of 5. I was in a cinema, I saw Peter Pan, and I was going to be a pilot since that day.
Because he could fly.
Because he could fly.
Johnner83 says, Gazzy, do you love Top Gun?
It's a very corny film, but I love the movie shot. I love the flying scenes.
Okay. David Clark says, quoting Top Gun, does your ego write checks your body can't cash?
Now, definitely the movie's corny, but that's a very good quote. That is a real quote. And I didn't even understand it at the time, but
Right.
it's the quote of the movie. And certainly, most of my friends who've died in aviation, it's because of their ego. Ego
Really?
is the 90% killer. Humility is your friend, ego is your enemy.
How many of your friends have died over the years, do you think?
Well, quite a number, actually. I don't want to, off the back of my mind, I'd rather not count, but over 10 to 15. These are friends, not acquaintances, not people that I've known casually.
How do you dream of new stunts? Do you practice them in the air or think of them on paper when you're on the ground?
Yes, they start off as ideas, and in our team, we get together and we discuss what's nice, what changes should we do, what maneuver can we do that will be more impressive. But our ultimate goal is to make it safe. So we have many stunts that seem incredibly dangerous, but we're really cheating. I mean, it's a trick of the eye. We use angles and stuff. You're not supposed to know that, so I'm giving this away. But yes, I mean, ultimately, safety is number one.
Right.
Lil Fairy Doll says, how many times did you pass out during your first flight, and how many flights before you didn't?
That's a very interesting question. I did experience once a pass out. It's called G-lock.
G-lock.
It's G-induced loss of consciousness. This is a number one killer. And I did have once this experience, and I was lazy on that day. It was a routine flight. I hadn't had breakfast. You're supposed to have a good, healthy breakfast. And I was training someone new. And what happened was, because I over-relaxed, I took it for granted. I started graying out. And you're not supposed to wait for the gray out. You're supposed to tense up immediately before, exactly.
Is this when everything starts to become grey in your vision?
Things start to go grey, so I should have stopped the maneuver there and then. But my ego kicked in and said, no, you can hack it. Start tensing up now. It was too late. And I did G-lock. And that was I had over 1,500 hours then. But by the mercy of God, I woke up in time. And I managed to recover, and I learned my lesson. Keep my ego in check, and really, it is a lesson I will never forget.
Sarah says, what's the weirdest thing to look at upside down?
Actually, when we're upside down, it's the world that's gone upside down. We're just where we are. That's how it feels.
All right.
You're so snug. You're as snug as a bog in a rug.
You've been in Ireland for a long time.
I've certainly picked out a few phrases. And when you roll the aircraft, it's as if the world is rolled, and you're just upright, proper.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the worst warning light to see come on?
Engine failure. The fire, number one, which hardly happens these days, and losing an engine. These two these are the two things that you do want to see when you're flying.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you have an ejector seat?
In the fighters, we have ejector seats. I just to clarify, all of our pilots are fighter pilots from the Jordanian Air Force, and we're on rotation. We join the team for 5 years, and we go back to the fighter aircraft. So in our the Extra 300 made in Germany, an unlimited category aircraft, there is no ejector seat. We have parachutes. Should we need a parachute? It's very unlikely that we need one. We jump out, we bail out, we open the canopy, we jump out, and the parachute gets us. But it's very unlikely. The aircraft glides beautifully, and the Extra is well known for its safety record. And we use a parachute more for comfort than anything else.
Have you ever ejected?
I've never ejected. I've had friends that have, and I hope I never will.
Mm-hmm. Owen says, do you ever get to a point in a trick and think, nope, maybe not going to make it out of this one?
We're always checking our altimeter. We're always checking our speed, and we're always ready to cancel the maneuver. That's very important. Very important. Whenever we're doing an air show, I'm always watching my parameters. It's a roller coaster ride. It's a fixed ride for me. You, the observer, you think I'm doing things off the top of my head. It's all choreographed. And I'm always checking my instruments. And sometimes I do say, no, I won't do this now. I'll do something else. But I don't leave it to the last minute where I say, oh, God, will I get out of this? I don't want to reach that stage. So I always have extra height just in case I get it wrong.
Amy Scanlon says, could you not have got yourself a nice little job in the bank or the post office instead of
Absolutely not.
instead of making your parents worry?
Absolutely not.
Do you find regular flying really boring?
Yes. Yeah, it is boring, regular flying. And I worry as well. Is the pilot good? I mean, he's going to handle the aircraft well. If something goes wrong, will he handle it? I do worry.
If you're worried, why? We're all in trouble.
It's natural.
Worried.
It's natural. You always worry when someone else is at the controls.
Yeah. Stephen says, can you see my house from there?
Well, where is his house?
I don't know. He's from Dublin. I'm not sure. Somewhere around here.
Well, if it's near Bray, we'll see it.
Is shooting a machine gun from an F-16 the coolest thing in the world?
It's 100 rounds a second, and it is cool.
Have you ever shot at another aircraft?
In camera, yes. I'm glad to say, though I defend my country, I'm ready to do it when necessary. I've never had reason to drop a bomb or shoot someone else in an aircraft.
Where's the fire button?
Well, it depends. If it's a bomb there's a trigger for the gun and a pickle button for the bombs and rockets.
Tony O'Connor wants to know, are your favourite type of biscuits plain digestives?
Certainly the ones with the chocolate covering.
Okay, so not plain.
Not plain. And finally, does saying, I'm a fighter pilot, get you chicks?
That's a corny statement. We don't think this way.
Have you ever used that line?
No, never.
Never?
No, never. I mean, what line? What line do you mean?
I'm a fighter pilot.
I usually say I'm a pilot. If they go into further, I tell them I'm a fighter pilot. But we always want to be humble because I want to survive. I want to survive and tell you about what I've lived. If I keep talking about being a fighter pilot, I become like these gung-ho pilots who write checks their bodies can't sign or whatever. What is it? What is it?
Bodies can't cash.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I don't want to be that kind of a person. Yeah.
What are you most afraid of?
What am I most afraid of? That's a very difficult question. I have to think about it. What am I most afraid of? My wife.